Welcome back to Buzz TV. I'm Steve Strum. This morning we have Jeff Haynie from the law office of Jeff Haynie. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Did I get your name right?
You did. Thank you.
Both times.
Both times. Very
Awesome.
well done.
So you are a consumer lawyer.
Yes, consumer protection is one of the main areas of my practice.
So, but you didn't always have your own business. You actually used to serve the underserved with Jacksonville Legal Aid and have recently transitioned into your own business.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your firm, your journey from helping the underserved to supporting the underdog. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I've been in Jacksonville about between 15 and 16 years. Like you said, I used to work at Legal Aid. And that's a nonprofit for folks who don't know. It's a nonprofit that just serves people that can't afford an attorney on their own, provides civil legal services. And that's where I got the knowledge of consumer protection area. And that's where I also just already had it, but developed more that real desire to serve the underdog.
So when you say consumer protection, what does that mean in your business?
It's a good question. Consumer protection, the way I think of it, I think different people think of it different ways. I think of it as basically any ripoff. Anybody in the consumer world, the economic world, it's like economic injustice. You know, you've been ripped off, cheated, defrauded. It can have to do with property that you rent or that you own. It can have to do with things you buy like cars or services, contractors. You know, it covers the gamut. So it's hard to just nail it down. And that's why I say consumer protection instead of trying to identify it specifically.
We live in such a litigious society these days that everybody seems to want to take some course of legal action for anything that's ever happened to them ever, even if nothing has ever happened to them incorrectly. It was just kind of the way the chips fell. How, as a lawyer, do you identify what is a true actionable consumer protection issue and what is just something where, I don't know, buyer beware would be appropriate? But how do you discern that? Because you just see so much hype these days, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sue because of I stumbled over a pebble in the road.
It's really important to distinguish, because I'm with you. I mean, frankly, I think there are too many lawsuits, and it doesn't really help anybody's cause, because then everybody going into court, judges look at you like, do you have a legitimate case? Right. But basically, I mean, in consumer protection, it's really not that hard to figure out if somebody's got a good claim. Some of it just jumps off the page. You hear somebody's story and somebody describes a transaction or someone that they dealt with and how they got ripped off. Well, you know, okay, that doesn't sound right. So that's just the first obvious piece. And then the second piece is going to be looking at whatever they signed. Of course, everything we do now, we sign a contract.
Right.
And so you mentioned buyer beware. That's obviously a big deal in the law, but consumers need to know. And that's one of the main things that I try to put out there is, yes, buyer beware is a concept in the law that we're responsible for the things that we sign.
Sure.
But the good thing is businesses cannot hide behind contract language that completely contradicts promises that they've made or specific representations they've made about their product or service. So just a quick example. Everybody thinks, oh, if I bought a car and my little warranty page says as is, no warranties, I'm stuck. I can't do anything about it no matter how bad it is. Well, that's not always the case. If you were smart and asked questions, and I shouldn't say if you were smart, you don't have to be smart to buy a car.
Knowledgeable consumer is probably a better way to say that.
Yeah, if you're asking questions, if you say, hey, has this car been in any prior wrecks? If they say, no, it's not been in any wrecks. If they say, we've done our 20-point inspection, it has no problems. If they say, it's only had one prior owner. If they go on making all these statements that are just not true, well, they can't then hide behind that little as is, no warranty clause in the contract. You're going to have a claim, even though the contract says that, and on first blush, an attorney thinks, oh, you're sunk. Well, there's more to it, and that's what's fun as a consumer protection attorney is you can't always, but a lot of times you can make something of a real ripoff despite some language in a contract. And the law specifically says, in the context of a car buying situation, that they can't tell you one thing and have you sign another thing.
So people, as you're listening to this, as they're watching on the show, they're probably sitting there going, gosh, I had that, whatever it was, my car buying experience, my home renovation experience, I had that whatever happened to me. If people want to find out more about you or how to connect with you to find out if there is something that they should be aware of, how do they find out more?
My website is just jeffhaynielaw.com. My phone number is 904-717-4800.
And so how do you spell Haynie? Because I totally got it wrong twice.
It's Haynie.
So Jeff, HAYNIE.com.
That's right, jeffhaynielaw.com.
Fair enough. Well, I was going to screw up the name at some point. At least we got to the end. Thanks for joining us and giving us your insight in consumer protection. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Steve.
Guys, thanks for joining us on Buzz TV. If you like us, share us, and remember, live with gratitude.